West Texas, a vast expanse of desert and tumbleweeds, stretched out before me as I stood in the blistering sun. My name is Grayson Shadows, but folks around here just call me Gray. My loyal companion, Ink, a sturdy Cane Corso with a coat that blended into the arid landscape, kept a watchful eye on the horizon. We had been called to West Texas to solve a case that was as dusty and mysterious as the desert itself. The town of Red Sands was a sleepy outpost, where the only excitement came from the occasional dust storm. But that had all changed with the discovery of oil beneath the parched earth. Oil was flowing, money was pouring in, and greed had reared its ugly head. Sheriff Hank Callahan, a grizzled lawman with a perpetual squint, met me at the local saloon. The air was thick with the smell of whiskey and sweat, and the patrons eyed me with suspicion. "Gray," Callahan said, wiping sweat from his brow. "We've got ourselves a mess." I took a sip of the lukewarm whiskey the bartender had poured me. "Tell me what's been happening." Callahan handed me a stack of papers, the deeds to the oil-rich land that had been at the center of the trouble. The owners of these deeds had been dying off one by one, and each death was accompanied by a series of strange occurrences, unexplained accidents, blackouts, and eerie sightings in the desert. As I examined the deeds, Callahan explained that the deaths were initially written off as accidents, but the townsfolk had grown superstitious, believing the land was cursed. The more I read, the more it seemed like a classic case of greed-fueled murder. I started my investigation by interviewing the surviving landowners, a motley crew of roughnecks, speculators, and drifters. Each one had a different story to tell, but they all had one thing in common: a desire to strike it rich. The suspects ranged from a ruthless land baron, alias McAllister, to a shady geologist, Dr. Isabella Stone, who had been surveying the land for potential drilling sites. The interviews turned up little evidence, and the deaths remained shrouded in mystery. But I couldn't shake the feeling that the answers lay hidden in the vast expanse of the West Texas desert. Ink and I spent nights combing the desert for clues, our flashlight beams cutting through the darkness. It was during one of these moonlit excursions that I stumbled upon a hidden oil rig, far from the main drilling sites. It was as if someone had been secretly siphoning off oil from the cursed land. Dr. Isabella Stone, the geologist, was the key to unraveling the mystery. She had been secretly diverting oil to a hidden rig and selling it on the black market, all while the landowners were dying off. Her motive was clear: to keep the land for herself and profit from the cursed oil. When confronted, Dr. Stone confessed to her crimes, revealing a web of deception that had ensnared the town. She had used superstition and fear to cover her tracks, making the deaths seem like accidents. As the sun set over the dusty horizon, Dr. Stone was taken into custody, and the curse of the land was lifted. The oil-rich deeds were returned to their rightful owners, and Red Sands could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Ink and I walked through the desert one last time, the wind whipping through the scrub brush. West Texas was a place of harsh beauty and hidden dangers, and sometimes even in the dust and deception, justice could prevail.